Abraham said before God, Ribono Olamim, Master of the world.
Put OBF.
Adam Ubenoi Lifanav. Adam Ubenov Nichnasin Lemakom. A man and his son come into a place. Ve'ein Adam Yodea Lemi Mechamed. Hey, who should they get honor? Who should they honor first? A man and his son. If there is no sign of elderliness in a person, they won't know who to honor first. So what happened? Mitoch she'ata ma'atro bezikna. If you crown him with elderliness, that he looks older, Adam Yodea Lemi Mechabed. Look, if a man and his son both look the same age, they don't know who is the one to honor first. You can't honor them both first. You got to honor one first. So and that's what Abraham said. And ask God, so you should make one look elderly, and then people will know who to honor first. Okay? So elderliness, the appearance of elderliness, as you'll see further in the Midrash, started with Abraham. Mitoch she'ata me'atro.
Kenny, I don't want to.
Atro means crown. Bezikna. You crown him by looking like, with a white beard, couple wrinkles. Adam Yodea Lemi Mechabed. We should honor. Otherwise, it's two people, and one is much older than the other. Yet he doesn't look older. You didn't make him what he's got nothing to show that he's older. So people won't know who to honor when they both enter. Amalo HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Holy One, blessed be He, said to Avram, hey, Chayecha, wonderful, Dover Toiv, Tavata, you have asked something very good. By your life, you have that. I'm going to give it to you. Umincha hu maskil, and the sign of elderliness is going to start with you. The Midrash continues to say, Mitchilas HaSefer v'Atan. Hey, we're 6 Parshas and a couple thousand years into the time of the Chumash, and there was Ein Ksiv Zikna. Nothing is mentioned about aging. So you have this problem. You don't know who to honor, which person to honor, which,
I'm just letting you know.
The Torah later on says, "V'adarta pnei zokim." You should honor the one who is elder. There's also the Dras Zashikon HaChacham. The Talmud Chacham you honor first. But in all instances, age is honored. And the Kivin She'aman Avraham.
So.
when Avram, who was the one who brought this complaint to God, that you have not made a sign in a family who to honor, because they all look the same age. Mikiven she'amad Abraham, when Abraham came on the scene, Nasan lo zikna, God gave him elderliness, aging. He looked old.
Let's do it.
Shenemar, as it says, Abram Zakein. Abram got old. Baba Yami, he came and with Dave. Baba Yami means he came with all his days were with him. He didn't squander any of them. They were full of accomplishments and mistress. But it says Zakein. He was old.
We said the other day.
Okay, so Abraham is the one who's responsible for Zikta. God, he asked for it, and God said it's a good idea. God had discussed with me that Abraham has to come along and tell God that it's a good idea if a guy looks older. But God wanted that the man he created should come to him with what he feels is needed here in the world, and God will or will not agree with him. What did Yitzchak? What did Isaac ask for? Yitzchak Tava Yisurin. Hey, Yitzchak asked for pain. Yisurin. Wow. Who wants pain? What was his? How did he present it before God? That there has to be pain to a person before he dies. Yitzchak said before God, Master of the world. That's that's how God is called in the Midrash by the Tanoim. One of the ways he's called Ribono Shel Olam, Master of all the world. Automates below Yisurim. If a guy dies without having pain before he dies, Midas Adin Misucha Kenegdam. The Midas Adin, the Midah of Din. We know that there are two names of God. There's Hashem and Elohim.
Disney took over the
Hashem is Midas Hachamim.
Right.
As
Yeah,
we
they did.
see that Hashem is
Sure.
Haya, Hoveh,
Yeah.
V'yeh. He was, is, and will be. And he's higher than the Midas Adin that says, hey, you get what you deserve. And Midas Harachim is you get better than you deserve. And the shofar is blown on Rosh Hashanah to get God off the Midas Adin. All Elohim Bitrua, with the blowing of the shofar. Hashem, B'Koil Shofar. That's the pasuk in Tehillim, and we say that before the blowing of the shofar. God rises from the chair of justice and goes to the chair of mercy, and that's what Yitzchak was asking for. If a man does not have tough life, Midrash, he doesn't have pain. Then what will happen? Mitoich she'ata maybe Allah Yisurim ein midas adin mitucha kenegdo. If you bring upon him Yisurim while he's alive, midas adin will not be able to come after him after he passes on to the next world, and he doesn't have to suffer pain there. A little pain in this world takes off a lot of pain in the next world. So Yitzchak said that there should be pain. And what should I tell you? You see that by a lot of tzaddikim. We don't understand what they did to deserve
I think, yeah.
pain.
We're in the right place. You just decided.
Nobody will ever understand why the Rebbe had a stroke in the Ohel. And the hand that gave out the most tzedakah in history should have to be paralyzed. And the mouth that said the most Torah to be still. We don't begin to understand it. The Rebbe was a tzaddik Yisraelim. And similarly with the Satmar Rebbe, and similarly with the Rebbe Yitzchak Soloveitchik. I mean, they're all big men, and they, before they died, they had terrible sufferings. So we don't know that, we don't begin to understand that. But here it just says that an average person should know that the Yisurim, the pain that he's suffering before he dies, will take off pain, that he's supposed to suffer because of his sins in the next world. Mitoch sha'ata mevi alav Yisurim. If you bring pain before he dies, ein midas adin.
My keyboard is.
Meshucha kenegdo. The midas adin can come after him because he had plenty of pain while he was alive.
Yeah, sounds like you're good.
Amalo HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so God said to him, hey, that's Chayecha davar tov tavato. Yitzchak, you asked for a good thing, that there should be pain before somebody dies. Umincha ani maskil, and I'll start with you. Mitzchilas sefer va'atis, where Torah starts, where Scripture starts. Ein ksiv yisurim. You don't see any pain. Pain isn't written. B'kivin she'amad Yitzchak,
I was about to, and then Mr. Gets calls
nosan
me.
lo
Like, hey, sure.
yisurim. Yitzchak, when he became old, God gave him Yisurim, pain. Vayihi ki zokan Yitzchak, vatetehena einav. When Yitzchak got old, he had the terrible Yisurim of blindness. Yaakov what? Okay, so we got Abram asked of God. There wasn't any of this before Abraham asked of it. Abraham asked for a person should appear older than there should be age of a person should be determined by his turning elderly and having uh, uh, marks of elderliness on his with a beard and you could tell that he's old. And so if he comes in with his son, they'll know who the father is and who is the son and who to honor first. Okay? And Yitzhak came and said,
Just got it
hey,
delivered. Thank you.
everybody Shalom. Pain should come into the world, because if you're not going to give a guy pain in this world, the Midas Adin, which is the Midah that says you get what you deserve, will come after him in the next world. So make him suffer what he would normally have to suffer in the next world, because it's a lot easier in this world, so that the Midas Adin shouldn't come after him in the next world.
About to, and then.
What did Yaakov ask for?
I was just thinking about that.
Yaakov Tava Eshakoli. Yaakov asked for sickness.
Got to go do my laundry.
I told you. In the times till Jacob, in Jacob's life, a person sneezed and he died. A sneeze was, why? Because just like the soul came in, Vayipak ba'apav nishmas chayim, God blew into Adam's nose a breath of life, the neshama, the life breath, by breathing. Neshama and neshima are one root, and that is, the neshama is the breath of God. So it says, that God breathed into the nose of Adam Nishmas Chaim, the breath of life. Vayipach ba'apo Nishmas Chaim, and Vayi Adam Lodem a man became a speaking person. He became live. And how did the neshama go out of him? He sneezed. And sneezing was death. Because the soul, just like it came in through the nostrils, it goes out through the nostrils. And Yaakov said, please, God, stop this. Give a period, a time period. A person shouldn't suddenly die when he sneezes. Give a time period. Let the fellow is sickness. Well, he's not on the level of life that he had all his life, but he's not dead. And he'll have time, as the Midrash says here, to settle his affairs. Yaakov Tava es Hakoli. Yaakov demanded of God there should be a period of sickness before a man dies, not that he should just sneeze and die. Omar Lefonov, he said before God, Ritbain Ha'olamim. Adam mace below choili. If a person dies without being sick before, and he just sneezes and dies, ain't no miyashe vein banav. He doesn't settle the affairs of the competition between his children. This one wants this one wants this. He has to sort it out. He can write a will. Mitov shehu chola. If he is sick, shunin. If he's sick a year, or close yamim or 3 days, who meyashev bein banab. He can settle his affairs between the sons. He'll know that his leaving this world is coming close, so he's got to write a will. He's got to straighten his affairs out. Amalo HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so the Holy One, blessed be Him, says, hey, that's a good idea. Chayecha, davar tov, tavaito. You asked for something good. Now, I think that God wants in the time of his, in the early times of his creation of the world, that things like aging, pain, sickness, these are sort of negative things, and God wanted mankind should ask for it. And who was the representatives of mankind? Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. And that's why he tells them, hey, you're asking for a good thing. I was waiting till you would come around and ask me about this.
Look who's talking. You said all about it. You know what?
Amalo HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Chayecha, Dover Toiv Tavaita. You asked for a good thing. And we'll start with you. And Mimcha Hu Maschil, because it says, Bayomer Li So Eliyasik. Who was his most beloved child? Was Joseph. And Joseph was the king, the viceroy of the whole Egypt. So he called for him. How did he know to call for him? How? Somebody told him, Vayomer Yosef, Hine abicha chola. Your father is sick. This is the first time that the word sick
Good question.
is mentioned.
Don't ask me.
You know, in the whole time period of Abraham and Yitzchak and most of Yaakov's life, sickness wasn't heard of. There wasn't such a thing. Person sneezed and he's history.
I recognize her. I think I know her.
Abraham said it would be better if you would give us time to settle our affairs. And so when he asked for sickness,
what do you work at? CPC.
And you just look how it's written here.
You're gonna receive a call. Just leave it like this. We don't need to. There's no inside. There's no. If it's gonna cause havoc, I don't think there's a point in full protection.
So he was the first one to get sick and not to sneeze and die. Amar Rabbi Levi Abraham Chidesh Zikna. Through Abraham began the presence of Zikna, elderliness. People before that, people didn't
clarify that.
They all looked young. They all looked alike. You know, there wasn't age. It wasn't
Right. Let me clarify that.
A presence
Just
of
clarify.
age. Okay,
Can I
and
clarify something?
Avram changed that, and he was made to look. Avram
What's
Zaken.
that?
It's the first time that Zaken is mentioned.
Well, the first. The first.
Yitzchak,
Should be
he lays the shooting.
3 o'clock in the morning.
Yitzchak asked for pain.
Ooh. Yeah. There you go.
You know that a person should not should have pain on this world in order that the Midas and Din shouldn't contact him in the world to come. And Yaakov, Shidesh,
go back. Football ends at 7:25. The news will be at 9:25.
Yaakov,
correct?
Introduced sickness.
That's all I needed to know.
Abram introduced aging. Yitzhak introduced suffering.
I'll have to adjust everything.
And Yaakov introduced sickness.
Can you move this noise?
Now he comes to another figure who introduced something very much later. And that person is called Chizkiyahu, who was a holy king. And God wanted to make him Mashiach. What did he inaugurate, introduce through him? Chizkiyahu Chidish Choyle Sheyisrapa, that there should be such a thing of getting well, not dying from sickness, but getting out of sickness. And that was the Chizkiyahu was the first one that had that. And Chizkiyahu came much later than King David. He was a descendant of King David. Amalo.
Could you please make this available on Fox Local and YouTube, Maury? Thank you.
Chizkiyahu said to God, Hemadato Oso Ad Yom Moso. If he gets sick, he's going to be sick until the day he dies. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Chayecha, Tova Tov, Tovat. You've asked for a very good thing. Umimcha ani maschil. I'll start with you. That a guy should be able to get well after he got sick. Hadahu dechsiv. Michtav l'Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda.
Yeah, we'll try to summarize.
Bechalosho Vayichai Micholov. He got healed from his sickness.
Sure.
You know the story. It's a famous story that the prophet Yeshayahu comes to Chizkiyahu and tells him, write a will. You're going to die and not live. You're going to die in this world and not live in the next world. And we know that he was a very good king. She was surprised. Whoa, what's going on? He says, yes, because you didn't try to have children, you know. And he told him, well, I saw prophetically, you're not the only prophet in Israel. I saw prophetically that I'm not going to have good kids. So therefore I abstain from getting married. He says, what you see in prophecy, that's God's business. It's not your business. You were commanded to try to have kids, and you didn't, and therefore
I don't know about
you're gonna die and you're not gonna live. So he tells Isaiah, well, maybe if I'll marry your daughter, that that'll mean I'll have good kids. Too late, he's told. So he said, Chizkiyahu said to Yeshayahu, you finished? I have a tradition from my great-great-grandfather, David HaMelech, that afila cherev chada munach al tzavo shel adam, even if the point of a sharp sword is already by the throat, it hasn't been pushed in, but it's already there. Al yimna aslucha min harachmin. Don't give up mercy. So I hear you, but I'm going to pray for life. And it says, Chizkiyahu turned to the wall and he prayed to God, you know, and he prayed, and we learned from this that he turned to the wall that a person should pray next to a wall, not to be disturbed, and God heard his prayer, and God said, I will give you another 15 years of life. So Yeshayahu's prophecy was nullified, which is something that teaches us that if a prophet comes to you with bad news about yourself, you can always pray to God to overturn it. And that's exactly what Chizkiyahu did. He overturned it. And there was a happy wedding. He did marry the daughter of Yeshayahu. And they had a bad kid, Menashe. But not Menashe, he was one of the worst kings, but he did tshuva in his old age. So Chizkiyahu asked God that people shouldn't die from their illness. Yaakov asked God that people that should be sick to know when they're dying. And so they should at least be able to settle affairs. It says 3 years or at least 3 days, give him life. And Chizkiah asked sickness shouldn't be final. You should be able to get up from sickness, get well. That's what Chizkiah asked from God, and God gave it to him. So God wanted that people should ask for things that were not yet in the universe. There was not yet Zikna. Avram asked for it. Old age. Appearance of old age. You couldn't tell a person by his appearance if he was old or he was young. Yitzhak asked for Yisurim, for pain, so that the Mitzvah shouldn't have any claim on a person after he dies. He was paid while he was alive with pain. Yaakov asked for a holy. It shouldn't be a sneeze and die. You should be sickness. You should be sick for some time He asked for a long time or a short time. But at least it shouldn't be sneeze and die. And that's, by the way,
Toldos I5.
because sneezing was associated with death, that became the custom that when a person sneezes, everybody says, God bless you, Gesundheit, you should have life. There's a response of people to bless the person because sneezing was a sign of death. And that's
Oh,
why
no.
people wish life
Yeah,
to a
no.
person
I mean,
when
I
he
went to
sneezes.
Best Buy.
It's no longer that kind of a happening. You sneeze and die.
$800.
But
It's not a...
since it was at one time a happening of death, that's why you say Gesundheit,
Yeah, I
to
can see it.
gesund. God bless you, etc.
Try Micro Center.
And Chizkiyahu Chiddush Chayli Sheyisraper. Yaakov Chiddush that death should take longer, shouldn't be a sneeze. And Chizkiyahu said that sickness shouldn't be final. You should be able to stand up, get well from sickness. Okay, and each one of them, the
Probably
four,
don't know when I
remember,
could. And
Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Chizkiyahu,
I okay.
Amalo, Hamadata Oisai,
Lenovo, maybe a Dell. I would go
Ad
definitely Dell
Yai
over my.
Moisai, Ella,
Those are the upper
Mitoch
echelon.
Adam Chayla,
Okay, this is
Oimed Chayla,
yes.
Oimed
This is a
Vehu Oisai, Tshuva,
yeah. Well,
that
a little bit
he
on
gets
the
up, he does penitence, and Amalo HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Chayecha Dover Tov Tavata,
okay.
you ask for a good thing this year, Umimcha Ani
We'll
Masu,
go
I'll
with
begin
Dell.
with you.
Yeah, looks like Dell.
Adahu
Dell's probably gonna be
Dechsiv,
the way to go.
Michtav L'Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda, Bechalosho Vayachim Choyov. There's a letter sent to Chizkiyahu, the king, who got sick, but he got up from his sickness. Vayachim Chaloso. Hey, that's a wonderful message that you don't have to, if you're sick, that doesn't, and you're very sick. And Chizkiyahu was told by the prophet Yeshayahu that he's going to die. So
Okay, Micro
that's the
Center.
same as being very, very sick. And yet he
Mm.
turned to the wall and he
Probably gonna
pleaded
get a
to
Dell
God and he
computer.
got
Yeah, it's
well. So the sick can get
Core
well.
i5
That
8.
was an achievement of
Oh no, it's
Chizkiyahu.
not 8 gig.
Amar Rabbi Shmuel
Yeah,
bar Nachman. Mikan
I think I'd really take the i5.
Hoya
16 would
ben
probably be a little
Choli
bit better.
Choli Koved Mishnehem. From here we can see that
I'm
between
doing this with
sicknesses there
RAM.
can
Okay.
be
For memory,
sicknesses
yeah, 16
that
to
is
24. Yeah, that's
harder than
probably gonna
most
be a better.
sicknesses. How do we see that? Didn't Portion
Okay,
say?
this is actually gonna be a better one. $500 or more. Okay, that would be a very. This one is going to be better by 7. Okay, this is going to really be better. 400 straight up. There's 2 open bucks from 300 bucks. Okay. Yeah, this is probably 16 gig. I don't need 32 gig. I'm not going to be doing that for sure. Just my keyboard. I think it's. Oh my, yeah, I can tell. So, oh wow, your battery is like. Yeah, but. The pad. 1570 battery. Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be. Yeah. 1580, yeah, this one's a new battery. Almost on sale this, yeah, I get it. Okay, yeah, I don't know, $30-40 and then it's repair it'll be. Yeah, I don't. Okay, I could tell. Oh my, yeah. I think it's about damn time to get it. It's under 500. It's 500, so there you go. It's not a. Okay, maybe I can just upgrade her computer to 16 gig, and then that would make it. Was it on this computer? That's fine. Oh my, yeah, I. Don't know if it is 699. So I got a Dell computer. Yeah, Dell are is good. I'm thinking about getting a Dell computer. Dell's really. How to transfer easily from a Lenovo IdeaPad to a Dell laptop.
It seems that what he's saying here, that you can see that a person can have many many sicknesses and to get up from them.
I don't know if it's Lenovo.
Difficult sicknesses, but that Hiskio brought
Will Lenovo
about that a
Micro
person
Assistant work
can
on a Dell computer?
survive a sickness, and he lived another 15 years.
This is work.
Means there can be survival from sicknesses, no matter how many times he got sick. And though it was by somebody, another 15 years were given him, he could become sick and survive again, and get sick and survive again. So מכאן שהיה בין חולי לחולי, חולי כובד משניהם. There could be that between one choli he was sick, and another choli that he got again sick, and a third choli that was the sickest, but he survived them all, and he lived 15 years.
I don't know.
The Midrash comments on the passage of the passage's reference to Esau as Beno HaGodol, that he was the older one, that he was, it understands to mean his great son. So he goes here and this is in the end of the parsha. We know that what is that Yitzchak. It says Yitzchak loved Esau, and Rivka is loving Yaakov.
No, that's fine.
And Yitzchak called his son.
Oh yeah, this is the $35.30. Sounds damn right. Oh yeah, pro. I don't know if that has
there's a lot here, and
time
is 5 to 9. Okay.
Yeah, my keyboard started.
I'm going to go to the very beginning. I'm going to go back to the very beginning of the parsha.
It's like
And the very beginning.
laptop keyboard not responding. Yeah, did that already.
The very beginning of the parsha starts like this. Ve'ela Toldos Yitzchak ben Abraham.
Okay.
This is the happening
Okay, I'll
of
do that right now.
offspring of
Okay, yeah.
Isaac, son of Abraham. The Eila Toldos Yitzchak ben Abraham, and the Midrash
Oh,
brings
okay.
a pasuk from Mishlei.
I forgot.
Gil v'gil avi tzadik v'yoled chacham yishmach bo. Joy after joy. If a man gets a child who is a tzaddik, there'll be joy when he is born. Vahi b'mei achaz. It was in the switch right away to the times of Achaz. Achaz was a bad king. He was the father of Cheshiyahu, but he was a bad king. Amar Rabbi Hoshea Amro Malache Hashores Lifnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The administering angel said before God, Ribono shel olam, Ribono kol ha'olamim, Master of all the worlds. Vai shemolach achaz. What are you doing? Oi, vai, it's Taurus. Shemolach achaz, Achaz became king. You let that happen? Amalahan. God said, Ben Yosom, who? He is the son of Yosom, the Avi Tzaddik. Yosom was a king of Tzaddik. And therefore, Be'eni Yachol Lishot Es Yadi Bo. I can't put my hand against him because a tzaddik I can't go against his children even if they aren't tzaddikim.
I already have one from an old computer. Yeah. $4.99. Other ones are like 1,000 or more. That's why. Other ones are like 1,000 or 600 or more than 500.
And when Abraham has a son Yitzchak, that is what a tzaddik has, a son, a tzaddik. There's great joy. And the Yeled Chacham Yismach Bo. Somebody who has a smart child, he will be joyous over him. Rabbi Levi Amra. Minayin ata omer, shekol mi sheyesh lo ben, yogeh b'Torah. From where do we learn that anybody who has a son who toils in Torah, shehu mismala alav rachamim, that the Father has great mercy on his kid and praise to God for his healthy existence. Talmud Loimer, B'ni, my son, Im Chacham Libcha, if your heart it gets smart, Yishmach Libi Gam Ani, my heart will also be joyous. if you are toiling in Torah. Rabbi Shimon ben Manasseh Omer. Rabbi Shimon ben Manasseh says, Ein li ela lev achiv shel basar v'dam. From here, from these psukim that says how much the Father has joy and pleads mercy for his Son, is the Father in this the Father in this world. Ein li ela lev aviv shel basar v'dam, the physical father, but we know that everybody has a spiritual father who is the God Almighty. Menayin she'afilu HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How do you see that even God, whom is rachamim Allah, He is full of mercy on this child who toils in Torah? Shashu yoga b'Torah, and that God is Menayin she'afilu HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the only one blessed be He, who mishmal rachmim, He has much mercy, Allah, b'shah shehu yoga b'Torah, while this kid is learning in Torah, God has mercy on him and nothing bad will happen to him. Talmud Loimer, Yishmach Libo, the heart of the Father will be gladdened, and Kamoni, that adds God, because God is called in many places Ani. Gila achar gila, Zman shehu tzaddik ben tzaddik. There is joy after joy when a righteous man begets a righteous kid. That's not always what happens. There are times when righteous fathers don't have righteous kids. But that's why there's gila achar gila, joy after joy, when a father gives birth to or his wife gives birth to a righteous kid. And that's the case of in our case here, Abram Holidas Yitzchak, a righteous father had a righteous kid. The Midrash says that why is it redundant? It says Ela told us Yitzchak ben Abram Holidas Yitzchak. So the question is, why does it have to say? I mean, you just said that Be'ela told us Yitzchak ben Abraham that Yitzchak is the son of Abraham. So what are you telling me? Abraham Holidas Yitzchak. So it says, we read in the previous chapter that people said, Sonei Hador, they said that, hey, come on, Abraham didn't have no kid at 99 years old. Abimelech nisabra Sarah. Sarah was impregnated by Abimelech, and that's who the kid is from. Abimelech, when she was there. And so therefore it comes to tell us that Yitzchak had the appearance of Abraham. He looked just like his father, and that everybody knew that Abraham Holidas Yitzchak. because the kid looked just like the father. He didn't look like a Noah. There's that it says that the pasuk says that Yitzchak was praying Lenochach Ishto in the presence of his wife. Melamed, the Midrash says, Shehoya Yitzchak Shatuach Kan. Yitzchak was in one corner of the house. Behi Shtucha Kan, and she was in another corner. The Aimar Yitzchak said, Ribono Shel Olam, Master of the world, Kol Banim She'ata Nosei Li, may it be your will that all children that you're going to give me, Yiu Minatabeke Hazeh, should come from this woman, Rivka. And Afi Omeres came. She said in the other corner, Kol Banim She'at Osid Litain Li, Master of the world, all the children that will come from me, you mean a tzaddik hazeh, should come from this tzaddik, Yitzchak. Ki akorahi, she was barren. She was naturally not able to give birth.
Yeah, definitely the key word is definitely.
Rabbi Yudin b'shem Rabbi Lakish Iker Matrin Lohabe Lo. She didn't have the ability to give birth. V'gdola plei HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
This is fine.
While she prayed, God created within her Iker Matrin, the ability of her insides giving birth. Vayater lo, Vayaser lo Hashem.
Right.
It's an interesting thing. It says that God listened to him. Hey, they were both praying. It doesn't say that God listened to her, that God listened to him. So Rabbi Levi gives an explanation. Rabbi Levi Omer, Mashal Leben Malachim. This is analogous to a son of a king. Shahaya Choser al Aviv, Lito Litra Shel Zahav, V'zeh Choter Mivifnim, V'zeh Choter Mivachutz. Says like this. This is analogous Leben Malachim, the son of a king, Shahaya Choter al Aviv, that he was digging to his father, Lito Litra Shilzov, to get a pound, a measure of gold. Then another son was Choter Mivifnim. One was digging inside and one was digging outside. Shekain Ba'arvia Korin La Chachira Atirta. So
It's kind of a
it is applying to how they prayed. But the Medrash comes out by saying that it's not the Yitzchak was prayed for her, and she prayed for herself, and it said God listened to him, to Yitzchak, and so it says in the Medrash that it's not the prayer of a tzaddik ben tzaddik. Yitzchak was a prayer of a tzaddik ben tzaddik, Yitzchak ben Abraham. But Rivka she was a tzaddikas, she was 100%. But her father was a Russia, Lavan. And both prayed to them. The prayer of a tzaddik ben tzaddik is higher than any other prayer. So God listened to him, and she conceived. And she had problems. It says, "Vayisotzesu habanim." There was quarreling in the insides of Rivka. They were fighting with each other. Vayisotzesu habanim bikirba. They were going in different directions inside her womb. Rabbi Yochanan V'Rish Lakish. There's a debate. What does it mean by Yisotzesu? Rabbi Yochanan Omer that Zerat Lahorgo Laharogazeh V'Zerat Laharogazeh. Inside the womb, they fought with each other. It didn't start outside. Each one wanted to, they were not even born, and they knew that the other one is going to cause the other one sorrows. Esau caused Yaakov sorrows. So that's what Rabbi Yochanan said, that this one is running after this one to kill him. Rish Lakish Omer, Zeh Matir Tzivui Shel Zeh, B'Zeh Matir Tzivui Shel Zeh. They would oppose the Beltan Cheyum, the way of life that each one struck the life form of the other one. Esav didn't go along with the outlook on life of Yaakov. Yaakov Ishtam Yosef Aholim. He sat and learned in the tents of Torah. And Esav said, hey, the purpose of life is to have a good time. And they didn't like Avram's way of life. So that's Rishlokas. Each one wanted to and not the world opinion, the opinion of life of the other one. Rabbi Brachia, B'Shem Rabbi Levi says, Sheloi Toimar, Mishiyotza Mime'ei Imo Nisa Beglo. Don't say that when they were born, they were fighting against, they started to fight against each other. Ella Achehu b'me'ei imai, while he was still in the womb of the mother. Zirte mitocha table. Adod Iksiv, the Zoru Rishoim Melechem. This is what it says. Yaakov wanted to destroy. Don't say that he just looked to destroy him when they got out of the womb, when they were growing up. Vayisotzu means that he tried to kill him, as he wanted to destroy him while he was still in the, and this is what a pasuk in Tehillim says, Zoru Rishoim Melechem. Rishoim are Rishoim from when they're in the womb. Vayisotzu habarim b'kirvo. This is another pshat. B'shor shehoisa umeres al bate kinesios ubate medrashos. When she was standing outside of shuls or learning places. Yaakov mefaches leotzeis. Yaakov wanted to get out of her womb. He felt that's his place. Hadahu diksiv b'terem asorcha bebeten yadaiticha. That's what it says, that even before you came out of the womb, I knew you. Ubishah shehi overes al batei avodah zarah, when she would pass churches. Esav rak umefaches latzeis. He was coming close to her, her organ of delivery, and he wanted to get out. So Yaakov felt when they were going by, she was going by a base Midrash. And at that time there was a base Midrash of Shem and Eber. And that's where he was, it says that Yaakov Ishtam Yoshiva Holim. He sat in the two tents, the tent of Shem and then the tent of Eber. He learned by both of them, who were scholars. But Tomer in came Lamaza Anochi. So she said, if the pain of birth, of conceiving is so painful, what's going to be of me? Rabbi Yitzchak Omer, Melamed Shehoisha Imenu Rivka Mechazeres Al Piskeihem Shel Noshim. We learn from here that our mother Rivka went to the
Okay.
doors of pregnant women, Shaloshim Ba'amrashahem. She would ask them, tell me, Higia lochem hatzar hazeh b'meichem. Did you ever have this kind of trouble giving birth? She would say to the other mothers, Im came, Utsara and Shelbanim. If this was she had terrible pain. They were fighting inside her womb. She would run and said, we learn it says that Pasuk says,
You can't type.
She was just saying that to pregnant mothers or mothers who had children. Is this what happens to people who have children? So why didn't I ask for children?
Yeah, we got one. We got a new laptop. That's so you had it 5 years. Last you Gufa. So that
If the pain of having children in your womb is so big, Halavai
battery.
I wouldn't have become pregnant. Reb Huna
It's 41.
In כך אני אשיבה להעמיד שתיים עשר שבטים. If it's going to be my purpose, she was supposed to give birth to 12 tribes. Halavai loi barti minyan zeh. I shouldn't have which zeh adds up to 12. In came alama zeh nochi. Why does I don't want 12 zeh, 7. Hey, as the hey zeh is Zion hey. That adds up to 12. She was supposed to have the 12 tribes.
Yep.
But she says, if if that's what it's going to cost, I have 2 now. If I got to have another 10, how am I going to survive? Tani v'shem Rabbi Nechemia. We learned to the name of Rabbi Nechemia. Ru'uya hoisa Rivka sheyamdu.
She had a lot of new faces here.
Mimena yud beis vatim. Rivka.
She's after. Oh
she
gosh.
was
oh gosh.
royal. She was fit. There's 12 tribes to come from her. Hadahu Yesiv, Vayomer Hashem lo, Shnei Goyim Bevitner. God told her, this is the answer of what's going on. You have 2. She didn't know that she was having twins. Her train. So here's 2. Shnei Goyim Bevitner. 2 nations are in your womb.
Keyboard.
So her train. Shnei Lu'umim, and 2 nations. That it says it continues to say in the Pasuk. So that is 2 more. Ha'arba. Ula'om ila'om ya'amek. When God is giving the nature of these 2. But it's also could be that God is giving how many she's going to have. Ula'om mila'om. One nation will become stronger over the other nation. Hoshita, here's 6. The Rab Yavo Tza'ir, the older one will serve the younger one. That's 8.
Yeah.
Hatamnia, Vayimala Yemei Lades. Her days came ripe to give birth. That's 10. Vayetze Harishon Admoni, the first one came out a red, a red complexion and red hair all over him. Chad Esar, this is 10. Va'achre Kain Yatza Achi, then his son came out. This Train Esar, so we see that there
See you, man.
she could have had 12. The Eastern Bison lay min hadin kra.
Credit card. Yeah.
V'toimer
Okay,
im
good.
kain lama zeh anochi. Others learned from this pasuk. If so, if it's such a pain to have children,
Well, at least you have a job.
why am I destined to have zeh?
Right.
Zion,
Thankful.
hey, 7, 5. Zion, Shiva, hey, Kamisha. Hatre Nasar. Amin Zah, that's 12. And so she, Taylor Pedro says
Somehow,
Hashem,
maybe he
she
has
went
Zoom Pro.
to ask God, she went
I think it's 9:28.
to the base Midrash of Shem Be'eber.
It's hard for me to, just.
I told you last week that I would tell you a true story. I didn't know all the details, but it was about the Rebbe Nisham. And it was his birthday, Chop Cheshvan. We commemorated it. And in commemoration of it, his birthday was the day before last Shabbos, I believe. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a story about him. I heard the story before.
Yeah,
but I saw it again in a magazine, and I wanted to find the magazine that had the details. So I'll tell you that story now.
Well, I could tell the battery's kind of warping.
The Rebbe Rashab took people would come to him with their problems, but he didn't take, he wasn't comfortable with taking in women. So women who had a problem gave the problem to the gabbai, the secretary. He would write it out, take a note from the woman, and give it to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe would answer. And this was the case of this woman who had the power problem. Her husband left her with the babies who were crying, Abba, Abba. She didn't know where he went, why he left.
Yeah.
And she was miserable.
Probably 22.
So where's she going to find comfort?
Behind,
she went to the Rebbe.
For a couple of years, you do have to kind of.
So she gave him information to the Rebbe's secretary, and she wrote out the problem that she's miserable.
Keyboard. Oh, that's over.
She don't know where her husband went, and it's been a couple of months, and the children are screaming, Avo, Avo. What should she do? She got an answer. Right away, the Rebbe said she was, this happened when she went to the Rebbe. He was in Vitebsk. And the Rebbe told her to go to Warsaw. And there she'll have her Yeshua. There she'll find her husband. She was very happy, but she didn't have the money for the ticket to Warsaw. But the Hasidim of Vitebsk made an appeal and bought her a ticket to do what the Rebbe told her, to go to Warsaw.
Yeah, it was like
and there she'll find her husband.
Yeah. Oh, wow, I got this in 27 census.
She takes the train to Warsaw. And she gets off in the station.
Definitely
Warsaw
4
is a
years.
big city and has a
Oh, 4
lot of Jews.
years.
And they never didn't tell her how to find her husband and where she should go first, last. And so she's sitting in the train station all mournful, very sad. Where they never told her to go to Warsaw. Here she's sitting in Warsaw. Where she go in Warsaw? When a very distinguished looking Chassid Yid, he looked like a rabbi, and he said, "What's with you? You look very sad. Can I help you?" So she
Definitely.
told him the
4
story
years.
about the Rashab. She said, "The Rashab sent me here. The Rebbe Rashab, the fifth Lubavitcher Rebbe."
at 5 years, I think. You're almost.
So, and he said, "But I don't know where to go to look for my husband."
Yeah, that
I
happens.
said, "Well, for starters,
Peter's gonna die.
there's a big factory right here, a quarter of a block from the station,
Like,
and it's owned by a Jew. And a lot of people come here to work for this factory because there's always jobs here, and you can make some money. So maybe your husband came here to make some money."
It's in October of 2010.
She was so happy to go someplace.
Definitely 4 years.
This was these good starters. And she came to the factory.
Yeah, almost the same price. You pay
And she
500.
went to one of the foremen of the factory
Okay, perfect.
and said, "I'm looking for my husband. Is there any way that I could find out if he's here?" So he says, "Yeah, we have a big list of all the workers, alphabetically arranged,
4 years.
and see if the name's got to be on this list if he's here." And lo and behold, she finds the name of her husband. She says, "Can you bring him to me?"
Transitioning all my stuff.
He says, "Yes." So the guy goes, the foreman goes to call him Reb Zelig and says, "Reb Zelig, your wife is here." "Oh, my wife is, how'd she find me?" He goes to her and he says, "I came here only because we needed money and I wasn't making enough and I had to support the family. So I came here to Warsaw to earn some money.
It'll be on Fox
I
Local.
didn't mean to leave you."
I assume yes. It'll be on Fox Local. I don't know.
She said, "Who told you to look for me here?" She said, "Well, I met a very distinguished looking rabbi on the station. And he said
let's just tell you
for
something. I know it's
starters,
not your
go and
wallet. I
check
know you
on,
won't control stuff.
see if your
It's in
husband came
October
here
20.
to work and make some money, or
7 years.
So for starters, she went to look and she found
Yeah,
on the
7
list.
years.
I found your name.
I think 7
Okay.
years.
So
Seven
she's
years.
very relieved now. Her husband buys the ticket for both of them to go back, and so she was.
Is it usual for laptops to last 7
very
years
happy
then
that
to get a
the
new one?
Rebbe Rashab sent her to Warsaw. So when she came back to Vitebsk, where the Rebbe was, she wanted to go and thank him for straightening out her luck and her life. And her husband, didn't want to divorce her. He just wanted to make some money to support them. So she did the right thing by going to the Rashab, and the Rashab would settle their problem. Okay. She had never seen the Rashab. Remember when she went? The Rashab's secretary handled the matter and was the one that told her she should go to Warsaw. So now she wanted to thank him, but she couldn't, get a private audience with him. But the Gabba said, "Look, he's going home shortly.
Yeah.
Wait till he goes away. He's going home. and go over to him and say, "Thank you, will you? You saved my life. Your advice was hit your target, was right on what I
Yeah,
had to do."
I'm thinking about that.
Okay,
That was pretty.
so the shop comes out
I got mine in
and she
October of
sees him and she
2017.
faints.
So
And they got to
October
be
of
good too.
2017.
Get
No,
the
that's
doctors,
7
get the
years.
doctors. Why did she faint?
That's solid.
She said,
Solid.
"This is the man that I saw in Warsaw who
Pretty good.
directed me to the big plant to where I found my husband." She had never seen him before, but she saw him in the station in Warsaw.
My keyboard start moving
And
properly.
now she sees him here. And the Hasidim, she tells him the story. She says, the Rebbe did not leave Vitebsk. We saw he had locked himself in his study the whole day. He did not leave. So we testified that he didn't go to Warsaw. But he did. A tzaddik can be in two places as one. If you're such a tzaddik that your soul, the soul can travel from two places. I never heard a story like that from any other
I think I
Rebbe,
have the book here.
that the Rebbe was in two places
I
as one.
might. Maybe
So
there.
we're going into this Shabbos, the Shabbos of Rosh
7 years
Kislev.
is
We're
pretty
going
good
into
for
the
a length of time.
happy month of Kislev. Everybody heard of the tragedy that happened to all the Lubavitcher Shliach
Okay, yeah.
in Dubai.
7 years is pretty
He
good
was
for life.
murdered by terrorists.
For 7 years, I think.
And my son knows the father-in-law. He was a classmate of the father-in-law of this fellow.
I think it's better that you get it.
And they were in contact already. When he was on the way to Dubai or Israel, where he was buried,
wasting money.
and he was buried in the same cemetery as my father is buried. He was buried on the Mount of Olives, and the Chelkas Chabad. And Mendel knows, he saw a picture of it where he's buried. And he knows that it's not far from the burial place of my father.
Do you know much?
Also buried near my father is the couple that was murdered in Bombay by terrorists. Who killed them?
I just found
But their little boy was saved by the Indian nanny. This was about 12 years ago. He was 3 years old then. Now he must be about 15. He was from Israel. And the Indian nanny ran and saved and took the boy, and she went. The grandparents came, and she went back with the boy and to Israel, and Israel took her in, and he was one of the grandparents, and the boy had his bar mitzvah in Israel. But it just, that the Lubavitcher Hasidim are all over. And, there are 4,000 or more shluchim, and this happens to a few of them, but it shouldn't happen to any of them. But we don't know God's ways. And certainly they are kadoshim, and in the world that we can't understand, they're blossoming. They're going higher and higher. And that's the world that we can't understand. But remember that, that the God created the world. The first letter of the alphabet is the base of Bereshit. And the reason God created with the second letter and not the first letter, Aleph, and Aleph had a complaint to God why God didn't create the world with Aleph. And God told him, don't worry, when I give the Torah, the first statement will begin with an Aleph, Anochi Hashem Elokecha. But one of the answers that's given why God created the world with a base is to tell us that there were two worlds created at that time. One, this physical world, and one, the spiritual world, where a person passes into after he leaves this world. And there, they receive those who died because they were Jews, no matter how they lived. If they lived as Jews or not, they are Kedoshim, they are martyrs, they are Kedoshim, called the Holy Ones. But let's hope that that's not how we should get into the next film, but being shot by terrorists. And let's hope that God will already end this war and spring it. And God is called the Matir Asurim. He loosens the bonds of those who are tied, who are hostages, captives. And God should have Rahmanas on them and take them out. It should be a dramatic springing of the hostages. And
I
they
don't
should be
think
brought
the
to their
position
families.
of that will make.
Hopefully they'll find them all alive. So let me wish you all a good Shabbos. This is Shabbos Mevorach and Kislev, the happy month of Kislev, where we have Hanukkah, where we have Yutes Kislev,
Well,
the Rosh Hashanah LaChasidus. So let me wish you all a good Shabbos and a good Chodesh.
Rabbi Feller,
Yeah,
do you have time for a question about Chumash?
I can certainly hear the question. I don't know if I know the answer, but I'll listen to the question.
Okay, this is
If I don't know the answer, I'll try to look, research it and tell you what the answer is.
I appreciate that. This is a question about King Henry VIII of England,
Yeah.
who has received a lot of attention recently. This was the king who had the 6 wives.
Six what?
Wives.
Oh, okay.
Um, his first wife was Catherine, who was a Spanish princess, and she had been married to his elder brother Arthur. And when Arthur died and left her a widow, Henry married her. And Henry very much wanted to have a son who could succeed him as king. And the whole business about his 6 wives is because he was unable to have a son with any of these wives, so he kept getting new ones. Anyway, he wanted to get rid of his wife so he could marry a new wife who could give him a son.
That's actually really, really good.
And so he asked the Pope, the head of the church, to give him a divorce, and the Pope said no. And then Henry claimed that there was based on a verse in Vayikra, he was entitled to have his marriage annulled.
Oh, you're gonna have a choices.
And the verse says that a man should not marry his brother's wife. And Henry claimed because of this, his marriage to Catherine was not valid. He should have an annulment, and his daughter with Catherine should not be able to inherit as a descendant of the king. And this ended up causing a lot of problems, the result of which was the English church broke away, and now there's a separate church headed by the king. But when he cited this verse from Vayikra, what occurred to me was, is this verse not contrary to the law of the Levir?
Okay, I finished, Doctor?
Yes, that's the question.
The first thing is that King Henry was all wrong. He could have done what he wanted because none of the laws of the Torah applied to non-Jews. The Kiddushin is not Kiddushin. There's one way that it's considered adultery if somebody takes a non-Jewish person, takes the non-Jewish wife of the non-Jewish man. Their Kiddushin is just living together. Appoint her as his wife. I mean, if he doesn't want her, he can divorce her and send her away. It doesn't take what it takes to send away a Jewish woman to write a get. There's no such thing as a get vis-a-vis a non-Jewish person. So that's the first thing.
That's pretty solid.
And the you were right in the levirate marriage that you can't, according to Torah, a man cannot marry his brother's wife unless he died childless. Then he can marry her or give her chalitza, because there is such a thing that in Judaism, when a guy marries, his brothers have, if God forbid he should die, his brothers have a claim to her. There is some kind of a bond. Only if he dies. He can't marry her otherwise. But if he dies, he has to keep his brother's name going. And so he is called Yibum. He can be miyabim her, and he has to, according to the Torah. But there's another way too. We don't do it today.
Yeah, I mean, it looks
marrying somebody else as a brother's wife, that was considered only for tzaddikim, who the only reason they're marrying her is because they want to continue the brother's name. But if her brother might be marrying her because he loves her, that's no good. So there's another way to break that bond that exists between a brother's wife with his brothers in case she dies, and that is a divorce called chalitza. It's a whole ceremony where she takes off his shoe and she spits in his face. It's a whole elaborate thing. One time.
Oh yeah, so this is better.
In my whole experience as a rabbi, 63 years, I was at a chalitza ceremony where a woman put on the shoe.
16 gigs.
And took it off and spit. And she had to spit. Boy, a powerful spit. And and he is, it's called Beis Chavutza now, because he wouldn't build his brother's household by taking his wife. But that's not his. The rabbis said you could, now in our time, when there aren't tzaddikim who marry just because of the Torah law, those kind of people could marry the brother's wife and have children with her, but not who do it only for the mitzvah of continuing the brother's name on his property. And now the bond has to be broken, because there's an automatic bond on every brother. And only one of them has to break the bond, and it breaks it for all of them. This woman that I accompanied, and I was on the Bezdin that took care of this chalitza, had her husband had 5 brothers, and only one wanted to do it. That's all she needed. And that one, they did the whole thing with the special kind of shoe. And she takes it off of his foot. He puts it on, and she takes it off, and she spits in his face, and from a distance. And she's got to have a good shot, that you got to reach him. And I was there. It was not in Minnesota. I traveled. She came to Base Kana, and her husband died. I knew her husband, and he died, and he died childless. So she had to have a chalitza before she get married again. Because, in other words, a chalitza is a type of divorce, because there is a bond. In case the brother dies, they've got to take her, and now they can't. Marry her, now they can't. Or go through this divorce process, and then she can marry who she wants.
If there is no brother, does it not become the nearest male relative?
No, not that we don't understand. Look at Judah. Took his son's wife Tamar, and we don't exactly know how that works. He wasn't a brother, but no, now it can only be a brother. It can't be any other relative.
Sure.
Yeah, I think Tamar's husband was the third brother or the third son.
He didn't give her he wouldn't give her. He was afraid that 2 of his sons died already, who were married to her. The third, but he didn't know who she was, and he was pushed by an angel to live with her. There was, Mashiach comes out of that union, and that's considered a holy union.
Yeah, it's not a good.
And
David Amelech was a few generations from that.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so it occurred to me that this argument must be wrong, and you have explained that as so. Thank you.
Well, none of this applies to a non-Jew.
Right.
He's a
Well, their church accepted everything. Mm-hmm. They said they accepted everything, but they picked and chose from.
How do I go about getting
Torah?
Like migration.
It's nice that they consider Torah the way of life and wanted.
Try that.
But he could have sent away anyone he wanted. He didn't have, he didn't have to use any other means. Just, bye-bye.
After the after the ruling by Rabbeinu Gershom,
Yeah.
I think was in about the year 1000 in the secular calendar.
Yeah.
Did that apply just to Ashkenazim, or did that apply to all the Jews?
It applied to all the Jews, except he was Ashkenazic, and there are Yemenite Jews who take more than one wife, who say it doesn't apply to them. And Al Pitorah, a guy can marry a lot of women.
Try Dell. I think Dell
You
sounds a
know,
little bit more.
if a woman
They're
doesn't
more
want
reliable.
to accept a divorce, so what should a guy do? The guy is allowed to marry 100 women. Solomon married 1,000 women. David married 18 women. You know, Moshe Rabbeinu married one woman, but Al Pitorah, a man can marry a number of wives. But Rabbeinu Gershon said that it's very problematic, and he made an issur, and he was Ashkenazic, so it was an issur for all the Ashkenazic community, but not all of the Sephardic communities accepted it. And there are too many Jews that have a number of wives. They say it doesn't apply to them.
How is that dealt with now, say in Israel?
They leave it as I don't know. I know there's a Sephardic chief rabbi, but I don't know how he deals with that. He probably says it's not allowed. You know, what's it called? Many marriages. It's a word for it. But I'm glad you're learning, Dr. Sheriff. It's good. You're spending time learning, and that's what we got to all do. Spend our time learning.
Yeah, but as you get older, it gets harder.
I'm well aware. I'm quite a bit older than you.
Only about 5 years.
I think it's more than that.
And
But anyway,
you're still sharp.
hopefully. Anyway, God willing, we'll see next week, which is the Parsha Vayetze, a very dramatic Parsha also. But I can't, to this Shabbos, we're going to have 30 boys from a Baal Tshuva yeshiva in Milwaukee at Lubavitch House. So this week is the...
Is it Bader Hill High?
I don't know what it's Hill High. That's
okay,
what it
got
is.
it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
They're coming for Shabbos.
Nice.
And Mendel, right now there is taking place the Kines HaShluchim HaOlomi, the world convention of Lubavitcher Shluchim, and there come about 5,000 Shluchim from all over the world. You know, there's more than one shliach in one place, but there are about 4,000 places with many shluchim.
Texted him, hey.
This place in Adu Dubai had a number of shluchim.
I hear in the grapevines that
And
you are
maybe some
coming
will
to
be
Minnesota's
at
Lubavitch
that
House for
convention.
Shabbat.
Mendel is there, and I hope
And I texted him.
that I can go.
Yeah.
I hope to go out
A lot here, Kelsey.
and Motzei Shabbos. I can get, they're playing the Shabbos ends early. I can get there. and then I hope to go to the oil from the airport, and then go to a relative of my daughter-in-law where we stay. And going with me is my buddy, John, who takes care of me, and my grandson, Tzemach David. He's also going. So I hope I'll be up to going, and I hope that God will give me the strength. And afterwards, I hope to be by the wedding. I don't know if any of you will recognize this name. The wedding of Usher Dukes.
Cool.
Moshe Lipschitz, do you know who that is? Usher Dukes. Well, I hope to go. His wedding will be in Pennsylvania. So,
Well, good luck with your travel, because this is the weekend with the most travel of the year.
Oh yeah, sure.
And there are indications that the weather on the East Coast is going to involve a lot of flights being canceled. So, yeah, well, good luck. I mean,
thank you for telling me, and give me a bracha that it should not cancel any of my flights that I have to be on. Motzi Shabbos.
Hashem. Let's hope. But there may be long lines and long waits, even if the flight is cleared. There was a big storm moving onto the East Coast, but they were afraid it would hit before Thanksgiving. They were afraid it would hit yesterday when everybody was traveling, but it didn't. And so now they're worried it might hit when everybody is trying to go home.
Well, we're all in the hands of God, and what will happen is exactly what God wants to happen, and we'll see. We have reservations on a Delta flight. Shabbos ends, at 5:45, and the flight is about somewhere after 8. So I hope that it will work, and I hope I'll be well to be on it. And we'll see Miss Hashem. See you next week, and I'll tell you about the experience.
Very good. So next Thursday, 8:00?
8:00 next Thursday.
God willing.
Right.
God willing, right.
And thank you for the shiur, and good Shabbos, and good
I
luck.
hope you enjoyed the story.
Very much.
All the best. I'll give my regards to Jonathan.
I will do that.
Yeah. All the best.
Thank you, Rabbi.
All the best.
Minneapolis. Wow. TMI, as they say.